Hello, my friends, and welcome back to my channel. I felt called to come on and do just a tarot reading. I've decided I'm not going to use any other cards, although that may change once I get into this reading. I don't know. But I was hearing, what advice do you need about your current love situation? So I'm going to do an energy check to see if this is your reading. So if it is your reading, you will resonate with the energy or the cards that I'm pulling. But I felt very called to this deck, which I think it's been almost a year since I've used it. On the bottom, we have Judgment. So Judgment can be about self-evaluation. It can also be about judgment calls, making decisions. And we have the Wheel of Fortune. So interesting. You could be thinking about making some sort of decision here. We have the Devil and we have the Tower. So, I mean, there's a magpie. Maybe magpies are symbolic. We also have a crow. If you're looking for signs and synchronicities, we have a rabbit. We have a hornet or a bee, black dog, blue car, red car. The Lovers. What is happening here? So we'll see what comes out. This could be... Oh my gosh. What is with all the major arcana? Look at them all. Look at them all. This feels big, whatever it is. Like, that's insane. So what I was hearing is there could be some sort of decision that you feel like you need to make, a change you need to make. Maybe there's something unhealthy about this connection. This could also be resonating with something you went through in the past. So I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to do an energy check. This is a huge deck. So we're going to do an energy check to see your current situation. And then, again, I was hearing, what advice do you need about this current situation? One more. So I was seeing the Eight of Swords, which can talk about feeling trapped. It can talk about limiting beliefs. You know, the Eight of Swords is an energy where you feel like you're trapped, but you're not actually trapped. It's more so mentally you feel trapped. And then we have the Eight of Pentacles, which can be about commitment. It can also be about working on yourself. And we have the Fool and an eagle, a cat. All right. So let's see the current energy for you and whoever you're connected to. We have the Queen of Coins, the Queen of Pentacles, and we have the Ten of Cups, the Sun. Interesting. So you could be, this could be a situation where you saw yourself committing to someone, but maybe you haven't seen the investment of your labor. You know, maybe you're still waiting for clarity. You could be in separation with this person, still invested in this connection, still emotionally invested, but you could be waiting for clarity, right, with this card. Let's see. Show me the viewer's energy. We have the Ace of Wands. So the Ace of Wands is an energy of feeling inspired, feeling like you need to take action towards something. You could be working on your hobbies or crafts here, specifically painting. There's also a pheasant there and an eagle again and a black horse. So, you know, right away I was hearing maybe you're dealing with someone who... It could be that you're focusing on yourself right now or your own creativity or your own passion. And it's possible that the person you are connected to, I'm just looking at that black horse in the distance. You know, maybe you're dealing with someone who ran from you. Typically, the black horse to me would symbolize, you know, divine masculine energy. So it's possible that they're on their own journey while you're focusing on yours. Could be dealing with a fire sign. I'm going to get another one for you. We have the Ace of Cups and Judgment. So it feels like you're doing a lot of self-evaluation, focusing on self-love, maybe even going through an emotional awakening. Again, feeling inspired to create something or inspired. It could even be that you're inspired to make a decision because now Judgment is on the bottom. So you could be thinking about your future here, trying to make a decision whether you want to manifest new love. I'll be able to know what's going on here once I get your person's card more clearly. So let's see what's going on with this person you're connected to. We have the Knight of Wands. That's exactly it, right? That's exactly what I was saying. So I specifically was being called to that black horse in the background, running in the distance. So you could be dealing with, you know, a divine masculine who is a runner because their energy is coming out as the Knight of Wands. And we have a fox here. So there could be, you know, the fox is very symbolic of someone who maybe there's some toxicity there. Maybe there's some unhealthy patterns. They could have been showing up very inconsistently with you, hot and cold, runner energy. So it feels like you're connecting to someone in runner energy, which is the download I was getting about that black horse. I'm also hearing something else. You know, I saw that Seven of Pentacles. So you could be still feeling emotionally invested in this connection, but you're trying to focus on yourself. But that field in the background, you know, it feels like the way that horse is running across that field, which looks like nothing has grown in that field, makes me feel like instead of investing on trying to work on that field, right, with the runner, you're more focused on your awakening, self-evaluation, self-love. Again, you could even be in the energy of wanting to make a decision whether you want new love. And the person you're connected to is in runner energy. And again, the reading was spirit. I was hearing, what is the truth of this connection? Or like, what advice do you need about the current dynamic you're in? Oh, look, we have little Foxy right here. So your person is in kind of like a runner energy here. They could be more focused on work as well. They could be, you know, this person could have a fear of commitment, a fear of intimacy, and more focused on work. Maybe you resonate with them being a bit of a player. And we have the Lovers on the bottom. So it almost feels like they're also trying to make some sort of decision. But I feel like whoever this is running from an intense connection that they feel with you. Let's get one more for them. It's very telling that runner energy came out. We have the Two of Coins. Yeah. So they're neglecting, currently they're neglecting love. They could be more focused on work or more focused on running. And Two of Coins in reverse shows that they are neglecting you. That they're showing up inconsistently. There could also be some confusion between their head and their heart. And I'm wondering if you're with this person. which I'm going to pull a card on, because either you were experiencing this energy and they ran from you, and now you're focused on self-love and your own passions, taking your focus off of them, or you're still... It almost felt like Spirit wanted me to come on and do a reading for those of you who are in a situation that need advice. So I feel like for some of you, you could even be in communication with them, but you're feeling like, judging by their energy, you would be feeling like they were neglecting you, or that they weren't focused on you, or that they were being inconsistent and not showing up for you. So Page of Blades on the bottom. So the Page of Blades, the Page of Swords, can be someone with, maybe there's something about their communication that's a little off, or feels a little deceptive or manipulative. The Page of Swords can be someone very clever with their communication, very cunning, to the point where like they have a way with words, maybe not in the healthiest way, I'm hearing. The Page of Blades also talks about, like, this could be someone who's, if you are talking to them, they're holding back. They're not giving you very much. If you are not talking to them, they're probably watching you. Let's see connecting energy, which I'll put right in the middle. So what energy is connecting these two? Can you please tell me if they are in contact or not? We have the Three of Wands. It feels like you may be in contact with the Three of Wands. And remember, these signs could mean something to you. Like, we have what look like some kind of husky breed. We have an eagle. We have an airplane. Maybe hiking is symbolic. But Three of Wands feels like... it doesn't feel like no contact. It feels like the two of you are in contact. But that they are showing up very hot and cold, very inconsistent. Maybe you're trying to, again, put your attention on creative things right now. It's really interesting, the difference in your energies, because the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Cups in the upright kind of speak to you, like I said, focusing on things that bring you passion or light you up, focusing on self-love. I'm going to see how you're feeling about them, because it feels like you're trying to remain strong, remain balanced. But just the energy that they're coming through with, I find it hard to believe that that's not affecting you. I want to get one more for connecting energy, even though I'm going to have to cover up that Three of Wands. Like, this could be a situationship where you're not yet at the stage of having a healthy relationship. You're trying to work towards one, or you're trying to work towards commitment. It feels like there's obstacles in the way with the mountains in this imagery. I like your energy. This energy would negatively affect some people, right? Like, to be on the receiving end of feeling neglected and dealing with someone inconsistent. One more for connecting energy. My dogs are probably going to bark here in a minute. One more for connecting energy. Can I get a little bit more information about connecting energy. So we do have Strength and we have the Lovers. So it feels like you and this person have a very intense connection. You could be trying to remain strong. But again, the energy that this person is in, you could be trying to remain strong, but it's hard to move forward when with someone to build something stable when someone's in that energy. Bark, 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 bark. I warned you they were gonna bark. I want to see how you're feeling about them. Oh my goodness, they'll stop in a minute. Maybe somebody here, maybe your person has a really loud car, like is it called a muffler? Because I just heard that outside. How are you feeling about them? It's almost like, I don't know if you're confused or they're confused. I'm getting like a confusing energy. Again, you could be trying to remain strong and keep moving forward, but you may feel like you're hitting a brick wall. Or this may be starting to get to you. Because Spirit was saying somebody needs advice. All right. Let me see how you're currently feeling about this person. How are you currently feeling about this person? Fell on the floor. We have the King of Wands. So you could have, clearly you feel a soul connection with this person. Six of Cups. We also have the King of Wands. So you could see this person as, you know, very charismatic. You could feel a spiritual connection to them, a lot of attraction, insane chemistry. I just heard Mr. Crow. I should pick up the card on the floor before I say this, but the King of Wands can also be someone who is quite focused on what they want to do, right? And that's what I'm seeing in your person's energy. You could even be seeing the potential of this person, like feeling, because they're in Knight of Wands energy. But you, because you feel a soul connection with them, there's a wiener dog. You could feel like Orange Tabby. That if they would just heal their childhood wounds, they could be this King of Wands. I'm getting a few different downloads about this. Card on the floor. We have the Eight of Wands for how you're feeling about them. In reverse. So it feels like there's delays or there's lack of communication, lack of growth, right? So it's kind of what I'm seeing is, again, this won't resonate with everyone. This is a very specific message for someone who needed advice. But what I'm seeing is you're in some sort of situationship that's maybe starting to affect your confidence, where you're trying to progress forward with this person. You're trying to remain optimistic. I feel like you are healing and doing internal work, that Judgment card. And I feel like the person you're connected to is showing up in an inconsistent, neglectful kind of energy. And it could be, it could take a lot of inner strength for you to keep giving to this. And maybe you're giving to it because you feel a strong connection with this person and you see that they could evolve into that King of Wands. But again, right now, they're showing up as someone who's not really focused on this, not prioritizing this, who would rather like go out and have a good time or hang out with friends or work. than give you time and energy. And that's being reflected in your feelings about them with the Eight of Wands. It's like there's a lack of communication, or there's not consistent, like back and forth communication, lack of growth, lack of progress. So you could be like doing everything you can, but if they're not willing to do the work, it's hard to move forward. Or there's delays here, like for how you feel about them. Maybe there's physical distance between you. I feel like there's an imbalance of energy. Temperance. Gray tabby. I feel like there's an imbalance of energy here. And maybe, for how you feel about this person, you're feeling like you've been patient. You've tried to be patient. You've tried to be understanding because you feel a soul connection, or this person has wounds or whatever. But there's like a lack of growth on their side. I feel like someone needs to hear this message, because a connection can't heal and flourish if only one person is putting in effort, or if only one person is committed to healing, right? Because as much as you heal, if this person isn't willing to heal yet, the dynamic will stay the same on their side. Even if you work on yourself and embody self-love, that doesn't mean that it might hurt less that they're neglecting you, but it doesn't change them not giving to you, or them having a fear of commitment, or them having things they need to work on. And that hot and cold energy, it can be quite hard on the person on the receiving end, because sometimes you get warm energy, sometimes you get distance, sometimes you get, it's almost like you don't know what you're going to get. And that can actually mess with your mind. It can create the feeling of addiction, like that slot machine theory I always talk about, where slot machines are meant to keep you hooked. Because I'm not saying this person is doing this intentionally, but slot machines are, they're meant to keep you hooked by only letting you win some of the time and losing most of the time. So it's this inconsistent energy, and the high of winning gives you hope that you can win again. So you endure the loss over and over and over again. And just when you think you're going to get up and leave, you get a win again. Okay, I'll stay here. You also can feel like if you get up from that slot machine, what if the next person who what if the next person who sits down at that slot machine wins a grand prize? So you could have this fear that if you walk away from this person, or if you go into separation, that they'll go be their best self for someone else, or maybe you have a feeling inside that, like, maybe this damages your self-love. Maybe that's why you're working on your self-love. In any case, I can see that you are giving to this connection. But for how you feel about them, there's a lack of progress on their side, and it makes total sense with the energy that came out for them. Because essentially they are neglecting you. Like Two of Pentacles in reverse. They're neglecting you. And maybe, you have that mindset, if I'm just more patient, if I just give more love, if I just Like, I honestly feel like you see the potential in this person, and people will say you can't create a healthy relationship with someone's potential, and that is true. So even if you see, like, I'm seeing a soul contract or a spiritual connection where you can see how if they healed those childhood wounds, you can see what they would be like as a more evolved person, a more healed person. But it doesn't feel like they're taking the steps to do that the same way you are. So there's delays, there's lack of progress. Again, something about the communication, right? 8 of Wands in reverse. It's not like messages back and forth. It could be very sporadic, very unpredictable. Let's get another one for how you're feeling about them. Interesting. You definitely feel a soul contract with them. Okay. So the cards I was seeing, the Magician wanted to come out, didn't come out. The Hierophant wanted to come out, didn't come out. Telling me you feel a soul contract with this person. We'll look at these cards in a minute. We have the 9 of Coins for how you feel about this person. So I think this person remains very independent, even though you're trying to build something with them. I think they might have like some sort of hyper independence or fear of giving up their independence, or they could want to really, like, you could feel like instead of focusing on this connection, they're more focused on their independent lifestyle. Like maybe this is someone who has gotten really comfortable being alone. And again, I'm seeing 9 of Pentacles can be symbolic of the higher self. So it feels like you can see who their higher self can be. And if you are in, you know, that spiritual connection, that divine connection, you may not be aware of it, but your soul actually has a remembrance of their higher self. But again, they're very focused on themselves right now from what I'm seeing for how you feel about them. The Hanged Man. So it's like you're feeling uncertain about this, or there's a period of uncertainty. You could be wondering, again, with that Judgment card, the first card on the bottom, you could be feeling like you need to make a decision about this because it's not progressing the way you want it to progress. They're still very independent. They're holding back from you. They're withdrawn. They're not giving you a lot of time and energy, even though you're trying to give to this. And there's a lack of growth here. Justice. You could be feeling like they need to take accountability, or they need to be honest with you. They could even be blaming you unfairly for some of these things, is what I'm hearing. Like there could be an imbalance of energy. You know, the Six of Swords and the Star, it feels like you feel like you could move into calmer waters with this person if they would just heal. Let's see how they're feeling about you. There could be distance between you. How are they feeling about you? We have Temperance. These cards come out in chunks. Hang on. Page of Blades. So they are holding back, trying to get more information. You know, not much communication I'm hearing. So we have the Two of Wands, the Ace of Swords, and Temperance for how they feel about you. I feel like the energy here is very confusing. You know, you could have said to this person that you wanted more consistent communication or that you wanted more balance. Your person, you know, is not really... I think they do see you as someone very patient. I just can't kick this feeling of something being off balanced here. And the Two of Wands, that's a fear of leaving their comfort zone. You know, so they could feel like you want them to heal, but they're not ready to step out of their comfort zone. Or you want more balanced communication, but they're not ready to do that. Maybe you've, I don't want to say ultimatum, but maybe you communicated that they need to make a decision here on what they prioritize. I am seeing that, you know, you're not trying to pressure this person. I think that you're being very patient. I just think I don't know, I'm getting a weird energy over here. I'm actually going to ask Spirit. I think this person is not investing enough in this connection to make it work, to make the energy flow. And again, you could have brought up that you wanted more communication, or you wanted more consistency, you wanted more balance. And maybe that's outside of their comfort zone. I want to look at the dynamic of this and then get back to feelings. Spirit, can you please show me the dynamic of this connection? Because like I got the connecting energy, but I just want more clarity on the dynamic of what's actually going on energetically here. So we have the Knight of Coins, which is about very stagnant. It's very stagnant energy. And I think you're trying to keep a positive mindset. But it's very stagnant with that Knight of Coins in reverse. And then we have Judgment in reverse. We have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Oh my gosh. So we have Judgment in reverse, which shows self-doubt. So their behavior towards you could be, oh, sorry, these were all in reverse, actually. Judgment in reverse, you know, that's self-doubt. I just keep hearing this person is like lacking self-awareness or lacking the ability to go within. We have the Wheel of Fortune, which something feels stuck. Like Knight of Coins in reverse, the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, something feels stuck here. And there's an energy of trying to cling to control or trying to hold on to this. And I feel like what I'm seeing is that you are being patient and you're trying to remain optimistic. I think that you're healing, you're self-reflecting. And I think this person isn't. I think that they're showing up inconsistently, hot and cold, neglecting this connection, probably testing your inner strength, your confidence. I feel like they are withdrawn. There's inconsistency in their communication and energy, and it just feels stuck. And I feel like I'm getting the energy that you've tried to do everything you can. Some of you are going to, like, if you're still here, this might be the past for you, right? This might sound very much like something you went through in the past. But it feels stuck. Nine of Cups in reverse. It's like more inner healing is needed within this connection. And if you're the only one healing, it's not going to work. Both of you have to heal. And I feel like, even this person thinks you've been very patient, but with the Nine of Cups in reverse, someone could be prioritizing other things over you here, like drinking with friends or an addiction, or, we saw that Devil card. So it feels like there's something unhealthy going on here. Something that you feel stuck in, but you could easily free yourself from, but fear maybe, again, that slot machine. What if I walk away from this and then they magically change? And if this is truly a soul contract, change doesn't happen when you continue to give to the cycle. Change doesn't happen when you stay in a bad situation. And spiritual connection or not, soulmate or not, it feels like you kind of need to surrender this situation until they heal, until they're willing to show up. And again, I think you've been patient. I think you've done everything you can, but that Wheel of Fortune in reverse is kind of showing me that maybe you're holding on to this, hoping that they'll change. I think they're resisting change. And the wheel isn't moving. It's become stuck and stagnant. Let's get another one about how they feel for you. How do they feel about you? We've got the Lovers. So they do feel this intense connection. Again, you could be at a distance. I keep hearing that. They feel this intense bond with you. I think you're dealing with a runner. They're in running energy, but it feels like you're still giving to this, or you're still hoping that they will change while you're with them, right? But if this person is neglecting you, if they are being hot and cold and inconsistent, that can be damaging to you. And like, even in a divine connection, that change doesn't come from continuing to give to that dynamic and waiting for them to heal. The change comes when you surrender it and choose yourself. That's why, the Lovers card was originally called the Choice, because a connection like this sometimes means having to choose yourself over the connection or over the potential you see in this person. So I feel like I'm looking at probably someone in a divine connection who needs to let go for now and walk away or put up boundaries, because this Wheel of Fortune is stuck. And as long as they resist change and you cling to this connection. And I'm not saying these things to be hurtful or judge you or make you feel bad. I always say I can only channel these energies and understand these cards because I've been through the hero's or the fool's journey, right? I've had my fair share of situations in life where I clung to things that were not healthy to cling to. And again, it doesn't make you sad or lonely or pathetic or any of those things. I can see you've been extremely patient, but they feel this bond with you and it's clearly triggering them to grow, because that's, to me, the Lover's card. It's a connection that's meant to change you. It's meant to trigger you to grow, to teach you self-love, to sometimes choose yourself. And there's a reason that Spirit was like, someone needs advice right now. And that's why I think that you're still in this dynamic. And is it hard to walk away from this dynamic or to put up boundaries? It is, but it's healthier for you in the end. And in the end, if you want change, if you want them to change and wake up and heal, that'll happen that'll happen in separation. Again, as long as it's almost like there's no reason for them to change because you're giving to it. And I'm hearing the Serenity prayer with that Wheel of Fortune in reverse. I'm hearing, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, someone else's healing journey, the courage to change the things I can, yourself, your own healing, and the wisdom to know the difference. Again, I feel like I'm looking at a feminine who's dealing with a runner, but not in separation, in like inconsistent communication or low contact or something. Okay. I want to see what's blocking you. What is blocking you? Whoa, that flew out. We have the Tower. Oh, see? That's exactly it. Okay. What's blocking you? This is clearly triggering childhood wounds within you. It could be that you're acting from, like, maybe you have a neglect wound. And sometimes when we have a neglect wound, we feel like we have to chase or earn love, or we end up giving to connections that are like this in hopes that they choose you because you never felt chosen by, like, your dad. It could stem from a father wound. It stems from a childhood wound. There's a childhood wound blocking you. So, like, part of your wounded inner child, you're acting from, like, your wounded inner child in some way, whether that's from a mother wound, a father wound, a neglect wound. The Tower, for what's blocking you, resisting change. So there's something unstable about this connection. There is something possibly even toxic. And the Tower as a blockage shows that you're resisting change when it comes to this connection. So you could very well be resisting ending this connection or going into separation with the hopes that you can, if you just do enough, you can make it work. The Tower is symbolic of, you feel the tower shaking, right? It's starting to fall apart. You're starting to see red flags. And yet the universe, divine intervention, is warning you, climb down out of that tower to safety. But a lot of us, myself included, will ignore those signs and stay in that crumbling tower trying to hold it together. And this is about delaying the inevitable. So this is what I mean. It feels like there needs to be a separation here if this person is ever going to change. And it feels like you're trying to, not intentionally, I don't believe you're doing any of this intentionally. I think that it's subconscious from a place of wounding. But you are trying to hold this tower together and delay the ending, right? Tower as a blockage, delaying the inevitable. Also, what could be blocking you is that you feel a soul connection with this person. And that's why I talk about soul connection or not. When something is stuck and stagnant, when something is unhealthy, when you are being mistreated, it's important to choose yourself, especially if you want to see change in this soul contract. Maybe for some of you, it's like you're married and have kids, so you're worried about what this will do to the kids as well. But like I kept hearing all through this reading, it's, if you are the only one giving to it, it's not going to work out, no matter how patient and how much you give to this. There needs to be an ending to create revelations, to create realizations, to create foundational shifts. Like there's something unstable about this, and it's probably, again, probably the reason you stay is because, well, I opened it right up to the mother wound. So maybe you witnessed your mother staying in an unhealthy situation and you're following that pattern. Or maybe, like I said, you felt neglected as a child and now you've kind of found yourself in a situation where you have someone neglecting you, and you feel if you just try hard enough, if you just give enough, if you're just patient enough, they'll choose you. Right? Neglect wound. The neglect wound is not just about what was done to you, it is about what wasn't. It is the love that was withheld, the comfort that never came, the emotional presence that was absent when you needed it the most. This wound convinces you that your needs are too much, that your pain is invisible, and that love must be earned rather than freely given. It manifests as self-sufficiency to the point of isolation, maybe your person, people-pleasing, to avoid abandonment, or deep struggles with receiving love. So you could both have this wound, right? Where you're showing like it's affecting you in different ways, where you're wanting to give to this because you feel like you have to earn it, or again, you're not doing this consciously. This is happening from your wounds. Or you feel if you just try hard enough, give enough, that you can make it work. And this person, I mentioned that there's some sort of like independent self-sufficiency thing going on here. So maybe they were neglected and don't actually know what to do with the love you're trying to show them. I'm also hearing mother-father wounds. And I believe that relationships, whether they're friendship, whether it's at work, they're meant to teach us something about ourselves, especially soul contracts, right? Especially spiritual connections. So that's what's blocking you. The devil. Codependency. Addiction. And that's why I mentioned the slot machine. Okay, so again, you may not even realize that you're energetically codependent on this. Or maybe you do. Maybe you struggle with codependency wounds. Nothing to be ashamed of. It comes from a place of wounding. Just like whatever is going on with this person comes from a place of wounding. But that doesn't mean that you need to accept that or settle for that. And, you know, this is what's blocking you. So unhealthy patterns or addiction or codependency. And again, I was feeling like confusion. So this, if this person is showing up the way I see them showing up, this is probably messing with your head. Especially if you feel like it's a spiritual connection. But like I said, spiritual connection or not, I tell divine feminines all the time. There comes a point where you need to let go and focus on yourself because it's become stuck and stagnant. And separation, the change happens in separation, right? This tower is going to fall, and you can either climb down safely or you can wait for a tower moment where this person instigates the ending, right? And again, it's not your fault if you are energetically codependent on this. That's what that inconsistent energy does to you. Like the slot machines. You become addicted to it. I want to see what's blocking them on their side. What is blocking them on their side? See, now we have the Seven of Swords, the Fox. I said it with that Knight of Wands and the Fox. So for what's blocking them, they're resisting looking at their shadows. Or they're... the Seven of Swords, like there could be some pretty unhealthy things going on in this connection. There could be gaslighting going on in this connection, manipulation, unhealthy things, sneakiness. You know, this person resisting healing. And again, I feel like you can't unblock that energy for them. They're essentially running from their shadows. They're running from their shadows. They're running from healing some of their own behaviors. And you can't convince this person to heal, right? I could see, whoa, my solar plexus is grumbling. So maybe they have some kind of solar plexus blockage. But it's not okay. Like, you don't have to put up with that. This person is in Seven of Swords energy. That's what's blocking this. And there's nothing that you can do to unblock them except pull your energy back, put up boundaries, protect your energy. You know, you could feel like this person is playing games with you, right? When you bring this up, you could feel like they're blaming you unfairly for whatever it is. We've also got the Sun. So there's, like, look at this. You've got the Hermit as a blockage, the Emperor, and the Sun. So this person, what's blocking them is they have healing they need to do. They could also have some really unhealthy traits here. And again, if you're in a situation where you're dealing with someone in Seven of Swords energy and you feel confused, there's a reason. It's because it is messing with your head. It messes with your intuition. You question yourself. You and you can't heal this person. They need to heal themselves. So wounded masculine energy, they're in distorted, wounded masculine energy. So this is someone who's, very aggressive, very argumentative. Again, there could be some like narcissistic traits happening here. And if you're dealing with an actual narcissist, don't watch tarot. Free yourself from that situation safely. But even if you're dealing with someone with those traits, you can't heal those traits. They need to heal those traits. And you deserve, like, again, counterpart or not, you deserve something healthier. Distorted masculine energy. So this person is probably focused a lot on money, very argumentative, wants to be right, aggressive, defensive. The Hermit. So this person is lacking self-introspection and self-awareness. The Magician. They very well could appear manipulative. Just, again, I am someone who has compassion for people. Like, it probably stems from their childhood or learned behavior. But it doesn't excuse them hurting you, or it's not a reason not to set healthier boundaries, right? And when you set healthy boundaries, this person will show you if they want to heal. This person needs to go within and do self-reflection. And, that's what I meant about delaying the inevitable. It's very possible that if you put up boundaries here, they'll completely ghost you. And that is a sign that this person isn't in a healthy energy, right? Someone who's willing to go in and reflect and heal wouldn't do that. So I almost feel like I'm looking at a divine feminine who needs to go into separation and put up boundaries. And a divine feminine would not accept this, right? A wounded feminine would. And again, I'm not saying any of this to judge you or make you feel bad. Anything I ever talk about, I wouldn't be able to talk about unless I had experienced it energetically somewhere in my life. But I'm definitely seeing you are in an unhealthy dynamic with potentially your counterpart. And that the only way there's going to be a shift energetically is for you to focus on yourself and put up boundaries or step away from this. Because this person has some major blockages, and I see you're trying to hold it together, but you're in an unhealthy situation. I want to see what, I feel like you need to protect your energy. So let's see what advice Spirit has for you about this connection. We do have the Fool. Let me ask again. We have the Tower. So I feel like Spirit's saying, let this tower fall. This is your advice. That, this needs to come, like, you need to take a leap of faith towards yourself, towards your own fool's journey, towards your own healing journey. You need to leap in a different direction, right? With that Fool card. Because I feel like this person is, you know, not willing to take the leap into healing yet. So Spirit's saying this is, you know, let this tower fall. Take that leap of faith towards yourself. Let me get a few more for advice for you. Nine of Wands, okay? So this is a connection that's not easy, right? It's challenging, but it's meant to teach you something about yourself, something about your wounding. It leads to self-improvement, but that Nine of Wands is like, it feels like you've been trying to hold this together. And the Nine of Wands is about like protecting your energy, putting up boundaries. And we have the High Priestess. Look at all those cats. Maybe cats are symbolic. So, you know, yeah, if this person, like, first of all, listen to your intuition. And I don't think you can hear your intuition in this situation, so you need to reflect in silence. But I feel like your higher self knows that you need to put your guard up here. You know, the High Priestess is about being silent and guarded. It's about listening to your intuition, but it's also about energetically guarding your energy, right? Especially if you resonate with them having that fox energy. Especially if you feel emotionally wounded, right? And if there's anything physical, don't watch tarot for that. But even like emotional wounding, it's time to protect your energy here. And if you do want this person to change, if they, you know, your twin flame, they're not going to change if you keep giving to this. So it's time to, again, go within and to protect your energy and to put up boundaries. Like, if this person is not showing up like part of the team, it's time to put up boundaries. Seven of Wands, stand your ground, put up those boundaries. Because again, I was picking up on your confusion, because your dynamic was like, you seem like you're giving to this and you're healing and you're doing what you can do, but they're not. And I believe that people can change. But has this person changed yet? Oh my gosh. These two are flipped up, the Four of Wands and the Hierophant. So think about it. Can you build a solid connection that leads to marriage with someone who treats you like that? No, not unless they've healed. And you know, if you're new on the twin flame journey, in order to come into union, you both have to heal. It doesn't work if just one of you heals. So again, it's time to embody that divine feminine. Trust your intuition, put up boundaries. One more. The Devil. So this person is acting from a place of ego. And, you know, I honestly feel that this person, I think there's a fear of commitment, typical runner energy. But I definitely feel a neglect wound here. Because the Six of Wands shadow next to the Devil is feeling unloved, feeling neglected, feeling unseen, feeling unrecognized. So I feel like that, you know, this person is triggering that neglect wound within you. And that neglect wound changes how we show up in connections. Again, maybe as a child you felt like maybe your dad worked a lot, or you didn't have an emotional connection with your dad, and you always felt neglected by your dad. And now you're kind of living out the same dynamic, hoping that this person will choose you. That's your little wounded inner child wanting to be chosen. So again, I feel like this person, you've both triggered unhealthy patterns in each other that need to heal. And I think deep down you already, with that delaying the inevitable, it feels like you might already have a sense that that is what you need to do. I want to get a card of advice for you from a different deck. Find balance. So there's something out of balance here. So if you are, what are you looking for in this connection, right? Are you looking to be chosen? Choose yourself. Are you looking for consistency? Show up consistently for yourself. If you want to feel loved by this person and seen and not neglected, start loving and not neglecting yourself. If you want this person to be healthier and to heal, make healthier choices and start healing. And, you know, that's why I talk about these things, because sometimes most of the time, because of our wounds, it's why we get in situations like this. It's the point of these soul contracts. It's the point of the twin flame journey. And part of that journey is separation until both of you heal. So again, whatever you're reaching for in this connection, whatever you're looking for in this connection, start giving it to yourself, is what I'm hearing. And again, I know it's not easy. This is exactly what I thought was going to come out. Balance, find balance. Temperance. So start working on balancing your divine feminine and divine masculine energies. You know, figure out what wounds you have from childhood. I've started doing those wound videos where I talk about these wounds. I just did the father and mother wound. It might shed some light on why, you know, why you're in this situation. Like I said, if this person is showing up in the energy that is blocking them, which is some manipulation, gaslighting, running from you, you're going to need to heal that as well, because that does damage. But it's temperance. Re-examine what you're prioritizing here, because I feel like you've been prioritizing this. And again, I don't judge you for finding yourself in this situation and continuing to give to it, and nobody else should judge you either. Let's just see what your advice is. Seek the truth. That's Seven of Swords. So what is the truth of this situation? Again, if this person is showing up like I'm seeing, you would feel very confused in the mind. So see the truth of this situation. Like, what are they showing you now? Are they showing that they can heal those things? Then it's time to put up boundaries. It's time to choose yourself. What is your advice when it comes to this connection? Five of Swords, win or lose. So you're dealing with someone in distorted, unhealed energy. Again, it's you could have this energy. It doesn't matter what I do, nothing works. Or it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter how much love I give this. Like, you could have that mentality, right? Because this is the Five of Swords. So it is messing with your mind. You know, there's self-sabotage going on here. I feel like this person is self-sabotaging, but I also think in a way, and again, I can only say this because I've lived through it, I also feel like you're self-sabotaging in a way because I feel like you know this person is mistreating you, but delaying the inevitable with that Tower. And if this energy doesn't resonate, then it's not your reading. And like, save your breath and your fingertips from... Anyway. But I had a feeling that this was a message, that this was going to be the message. So someone, and I don't care if it's only one person, I see you. And right now you need to choose yourself because you can't win. Like, there is no winner or loser in this. Everybody is getting hurt. But again, that's like giving me that distorted masculine energy, which is, it's the energy of, it's very argumentative. There can only be one winner. And you know, that sword is down, stuck in the ground. So it almost feels like there's also a message of, it doesn't matter how you communicate. And you know, swords down is about stopping, like, swords down is no communication. And I think that's going to be, like, if this person doesn't want to change or heal or take accountability, you're going to continue to hurt yourself by staying in the dynamic. And again, do I believe this person can change? I believe anyone can change if they want to, right? If they have that wake-up call. But you can't convince them to. One more card of advice for you. Lead, take the lead. So it's almost like Spirit's saying, you need to embody this divine masculine energy yourself, right? Again, I feel like you're dealing with a runner who needs to grow and evolve into that divine masculine energy, and that doesn't happen if you continue to give to it. Sorry about the vacuum. But this is about knowing your worth. You deserve more than this. Counterpart or not, twin flame or not, soulmate or not, well, twin flame counterpart, soulmate or not. So it's up to you to stand, like, it's not up to you, but Spirit's telling you, you know, to choose yourself, to take the lead in this connection. Because I feel like this person, as long as you keep giving and they keep being able to be in this dynamic, there's no reason to change. So Spirit wants you to know your worth, you know, masculine energy, know your worth. I always talk about this card, the masculine twin. Stand in your power. Know that you are more than good enough, that you deserve more. And release fixer patterns. Release the belief that you can fix this pattern, or sorry, this person. Release any fixer patterns that you feel like you can fix this person. And stand in your power. Divine masculine energy. High Priestess, again, confirmation. Silent and guarded, High Priestess. Protect your energy. And again, I feel like your intuition has been trying to tell you this, but you being in this situation, I wouldn't be surprised if you can't hear your intuition because of the, I'm hearing like the five of swords, 7 of swords. It speaks of mind games, right? Or manipulation. So protect your energy. All right. Whoops, tower moment. See? Tower moment. There needs to be a tower moment. The only way to break up stagnant energy, to create revelations, change, transformation. Tower. Let's get you some surrender cards. What do you need to surrender? And again, from what I'm seeing, there are things that you need to heal just from this dynamic. You could feel very out of touch with your intuition. What do you need to surrender? Two cards went on the floor. Surrender defensiveness. I feel like I was seeing this person being very defensive, but do you find yourself engaging in the defensiveness, this argument, right? And this card is not about, I'm not telling you to just stop being defensive and stop fighting with this person, right? This card to me also reminds me of the 7 of Wands. So like, if this person is being defensive, or you have to, like if they're being super defensive, surrender it, right? It's hard to get through to someone who's very defensive. Defensiveness is a sign of weakness. So even if you find yourself arguing with this person, center yourself before you communicate back, because you don't want to get in that back and forth defensive argument. Defensiveness is a sign of weakness. To communicate in a more empowered way, stay centered and hear someone out, then offer a clear, non-defensive response. So don't let them trigger your defensiveness, right? Surrender to silence. In quiet meditation or contemplation, let go and enter the stillness within. Silence can heal and replenish you. And I feel like that's how you're going to reconnect to your intuition. Again, this is a very specific message, but if you do find yourself in this type of unhealthy dynamic, you know, it's time to protect your energy. Surrender it to spirit. Once you've done everything you can do, and that's what I meant. It feels like you've done everything you can. Turn the situation over to the divine and let the divine handle it. Let divine intervention guide this person into healing and their tower moment, right? Surrender to non-action. Spirit is very on point today. Maybe you've been procrastinating about doing this, hoping that it would get better. Surrender to non-action. Now is the time to be still and not act. Simply breathe and focus on your own power. Let others come to you. And you know, that divine feminine card in that red deck talks about let others take the lead, you know? And I don't mean just sit and accept what this person is showing you. But that card talks about being in divine feminine energy and allowing someone's actions to tell you who they can be to you right now. So what are this person's actions telling you they can be to you right now? What kind of partner can they be to you by their current actions, which looks like hot and cold inconsistency and some unhealthy behavior? They need to take the lead in their own healing journey. You know, surrender to, again, very specific message I feel for a divine feminine who's maybe, you know, scared of separation. or resisting separation. I just heard again. So maybe some of you reconnected with this person and you thought things were different or things would be different, but it's turning out to be the same. But Spirit's very clear, like High Priestess twice, silence, non-action. If you've done everything you can and this person is still being defensive, it's time to surrender it to Spirit, okay? You know, it's time to surrender to inner peace and complete healing. Do you feel inner peace in this connection? It's time to surrender to complete healing. It's time to, you know, even heal what you've endured here, because I feel like this has caused some wounds as well. All right, my friends, I am sending you lots of love and light. And I don't say any of this lightly. But you really do, like, Spirit wants you to surrender this to them. Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Let the divine take control of this. There's nothing you can do to control the outcome here. It's in the hands of the divine. All right. I'm sending you lots of love and light, my friend, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.